And welcome to episode 579 of the Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. I'm Sean.
And I'm Ian, and this is the only podcast that says
Guess who's back? Back again.
from trips.
Yeah.
It's been a busy summer.
You have. You've had a very busy summer. You are living your best life.
Yeah.
Very happy for you.
Thanks.
You're out there doing your thing.
I am.
Meanwhile, I'm like a mole man
Woman.
in my cave.
That's okay. The cave.
Yeah. Everybody's outside. Sean, come on, join us and play. And I'm like, no, that's not for me.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good. I'm watching a docu-series about NFL wide receivers.
Nice.
I did watch a docu-series about NFL wide receivers. It was very good.
Really?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Remember last year they did the series? It was Peyton Manning's Omaha Productions. They did the show about quarterbacks.
Yeah.
This year they did it about wide receivers,
Okay.
and it was George Kittle, Deebo Samuels, Jefferson up in Minnesota,
Yeah.
and who's the fourth one? Devontae Adams.
Okay.
Those are the four that they followed.
Mm.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, it was interesting from the standpoint of like you always know wide receivers are divas.
Yeah.
You know, like a wide receiver will tell you they are open on every single play, even if they're not.
Right. I know that.
You know, but to see it like the work that they put in and the reason that they like, it's like a thing like they may not even believe it, but they believe it. You know what I mean?
All right.
Like, yeah, I was open. You've got to find a way to get me the ball. I'm the best player on the field. The offense runs better when it runs through me.
Right.
Like stuff like that. Like they firmly believe that.
Right.
And like, you know, it has like I shouldn't be a decoy. I need to be, you know, the piston that runs the engine.
Right.
You know, and it's a very interesting like look in the side of that psyche. But it gets offset by Kittle, who's like, I don't care if I catch a fucking ball. Like, you know, if I throw three great blocks that like break guys for touchdowns, I
Right.
had a great game.
Right.
You know, it's not about touchdowns. It's about the team winning. Where like wide receiver, like the only way the team wins is through me.
Yeah.
But George Kittle's like, nah, man, I don't need the ball to win. I just, you know, I need to do my part.
Right.
You know, and it's like an interesting like difference in thought process between like how those three guys thought and how he thought.
Right.
You know, and like he's happy to catch the ball. Like if that's what it means to contribute and help the team win, he's fine with that. But if that also means, you know, somebody else is making the play and he could, you know, hit a block downfield that opens him up for a touchdown,
Right.
he's just as happy. You know.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So it's like an interesting like exposition between the two sides, I thought.
Right.
And then also it's you know completely different from what you saw last year with the quarterbacks, because a lot of them know like, well, I got to feed this guy, like I got to get him involved early, I got to keep him involved in the offense, and like how they prepare and like you know stuff like that. Like it was like so it's interesting to see like the two different sides of that. And I hope I'm sure they won't, but like maybe like a linebacker or defensive back next year
Sure.
type of sit like follow four DBs or you know two corners, two safeties, or
Sure.
you know four different linebackers or something like that. Like I could see like that kind of being something that's very cool to see like the other side of the ball and what their mentality is.
Sure.
You know.
Like different perspectives.
Yeah. Yeah, because I enjoyed quarterback, and I thought the four quarterbacks they thought followed were all very interesting for their own reasons.
Right.
I thought wide receiver was interesting this year because it was three of the best wide receivers and one of the best tight ends in the game.
Right.
And then like I'd love to see it like go to the other side of the ball and kind of look at it from that perspective. I mean, what I would really love, but they'll never do it,
What's that?
is like offensive line.
Yeah, it's never gonna do that.
Nobody gives a shit about those guys.
No,
But like I would find like or even defensive line, like, I would just find that very, very interesting to watch. To
right,
me. As somebody who played the game very slightly at a very low level. you
right,
know?
right. No, yeah,
But but still like I would find it interesting like their preparation, how they feel like after a game, like how long does it take an offensive lineman to like really like feel quote unquote right?
right,
Like especially like if you have a Thursday game and you played Sunday,
right.
like that is a turnaround time. Like how do you even get yourself into a position like feel like you can play? Like what like that's got to be an amazing process for the guys in the trenches because like you can talk about the collisions that you have like the wide receiver and defensive back or running backs and linebackers, and they're brutal. But
Right.
offensive linemen are in a car crash 60 times a game.
Right.
Like I
Yeah.
mean, and I'm not even saying that from like, well, that's what I thought. I'm talking about like I'm watching those guys perform and hearing some of them talk. It is like being in a car crash 60 times a game.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know, and how do you get your body right in a short week?
Right.
So that would be interesting to me. I get a little something in my throat there.
Yeah.
But that's been very interesting. I've also been watching on Max. I have been watching. They're doing a Hard Knocks off season
Okay.
with the New York Giants.
Hmm.
Obviously, there's no football being played. Like if you watch Hard Knocks in the preseason Hard Knocks, obviously that's all training camp, and when they do the in season Hard Knocks, it's there's games being played and everything else like practices, everything that leads up to it. So but this is all front office, like the general manager and the head coach and the owner making decisions about the the players and how much can we afford to pay person X.
Sure.
If we're gonna make a trade for this guy, what are we willing to give up?
Yeah.
It's a very interesting look behind the scenes of something that you have never seen or been really privy to other than like what they're willing to talk about like with like Ian Rappaport or Adam Scheffler, like stuff like that.
Sure.
Like this is like, and it's like amazing access that you're getting, and I'm sure it's not complete access, but still it's amazing enough where like you're watching the Giants make a decision about whether or not they're going to re-sign Saquon Barkley and the decision process that they went through to let him go.
Right.
And a lot of people are like, well, wow, the Giants are really looking bad in this. And I'm like, I feel like they had to look at it from a certain perspective and like how much you're willing to spend on a running back. Can we get equal value or what value can we get at a lower price? Like I thought it was very interesting. Like I'm should the Giants have re-signed or found a way to re-sign Saquon Barkley? Sure. Like, yeah, you don't let that guy go. But at the same time, like, this is what our thought process was. And it's very interesting to see. And I'm certainly not going to, like, sit here and be like, oh, boy, did they make a bad decision.
Right.
But it's interesting to see, well, okay, no, we're not going to get a Saquon Barkley, but what can we get at the running back position at a much lower cost?
Right.
Which is, like, yeah, and you think about like with Najee Harris, like I was critical of the Steelers for like how do you not give him his fifth year? Well, you probably don't because you're thinking to yourself, one, we've got Jaylen Warren,
Right.
but two, we could find somebody almost as good to put in that backfield position, probably at a lesser cost than what his fifth year option would be.
Right.
Like we can like you might even be willing to let him go to market and say, okay, see what you can get and come back to us and we'll see if we want to match it.
Right.
which is what the Giants did with Saquon.
Yeah.
Like, and so like, and like with running backs, you're sitting there and you're saying, well, they're a dime a dozen. You can pick them. You can pick up a decent one at a much lower cost than what you'd have to pay a Saquon Barkley or a Najee Harris. And if somebody's willing to pay those guys a ridiculous amount of money, well, then good on them. That's eating into their cap, not mine.
Not my cap.
Yeah, I can spend that money elsewhere.
Right.
You know, so it's interesting to see like the thought process of an NFL general manager and the head coach on like how they're tackling these situations and what do we need to do to better our team? Like, how are we spending our free agent money? Where do we want to spend our free agent money? Where, what are we looking for in the draft? Like, it's I've enjoyed it. It's 3 episodes in, and if you're into that, like if you're geeky about stuff like that, like I am, then it's a very interesting watch. If you're not, like if you enjoy Hard Knocks for the behind the scenes of like that seventh wide receiver trying to make a team, or that fifth inside linebacker trying to make a team, then this isn't for you because it's not covering stuff like that. This is how an NFL franchise is constructed, and that'll lead you into Hard Knocks the preseason with how that team is then built through camp,
right,
and what decisions are made. So it's I've enjoyed the shit out of it, but I'm geeky about stuff like that.
Yeah, I know you.
Yeah. So I watched those 2 things. I finished The Acolyte.
How did you like that?
Meh.
Yeah.
Like do you intend on watching it?
Yeah, I watched 3 episodes.
Okay. Like my problem becomes, I don't want to give anything away, but it paints the Jedi like almost as the villains, and the Sith are kind of like, yeah, they're not that bad. And like I do like when certain things are painted in shades of gray.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like there are things like Batman lives in shades of gray. He has one rule: he doesn't kill, but he has no problem crippling a man.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's shit. Like so. Like there are things that can be played in shades of gray, but like to me, like Star Wars is the Jedi are good, the Sith are evil.
Okay.
And you can say like in the prequels, well, it was the hubris of the Jedi that led to their downfall because they never saw what was right in front of them, and that was Palpatine's grab for power.
Right.
And
right.
You know what I mean? And everything that was involved with that, like you couldn't figure out there was a fucking Sith Lord standing right in front of you,
right,
as you were talking about sending Obi-Wan Kenobi to look for General Grievous.
Right.
I mean, shit like that you're just like, man, the Jedi were dumb. And in a way, it is kind of painting this picture of like the Jedi were so massive that like there were factions of it within the temple that were like, yeah, we got to cover this shit up, or boy, we fucked this up, or and like, and it never got to the High Council.
Right.
So it is interesting from the stand, like there were aspects of the Acolyte I enjoyed.
Okay.
Like like I said, it was like meh. Like I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. Okay. And like it was, I think like I enjoyed it. I once I kind of figured out what the story was, which takes forever in my mind to like really like get to.
Okay.
Like, okay, oh, this is the story. Okay, great. And even then, like the way it's presented is like, I don't know. Like, I had problems with it, but like I forgive the problems enough because there are other things that like I was like, okay, well that was interesting. But like it's that thing, like it's gonna get a season 2. It deserves a season 2. But like I don't care if I watch season 2 or not.
Okay.
Like I will, but like I'm not gonna be like, oh, I can't, like, there are other things like I can't wait for Andor season 2, like, because that show's amazing. Like this just didn't grip me like that. Like when it comes out, I'll watch it, but I'm not gonna be sitting on pins and needles waiting for season 2.
Right, right.
You know,
Yeah.
like it was just meh.
So it just kind of left you.
Yeah, I mean, like I enjoyed it to a certain extent. I had problems with it, like, but overall, I like it just it, like I said, like it's something, like, out of all the other things that are happening in Star Wars, this was probably my least favorite.
Okay.
I still enjoyed it, but it just wasn't there for me.
Just didn't knock your socks off.
Right, and I'm kind of bummed out by that because I did want it to be that good. Like when they announced it, and like it's 100 years in the past, and no Skywalker legacy and all this. Like, okay, great. I can't wait for this. I want to see what the Jedi were like at this time point. Like,
Right.
I want to see what the technology was like. What are there was so many interesting things about it, and I think that's what I found most interesting about it, was like, well, how were things handled? But how things were handled, I'm like, ooh, okay.
Right.
Ah, I see. That type of thing. So, what is that? And your shirt reminds me, I watched Cobra Kai season 6, part 1.
Oh, how was that?
Very
I
good.
didn't know it came out.
Yeah, it came out this week, and it was very good. I enjoyed it. Netflix does the smart thing here of, like, they broke the final season up into 3 different parts.
Okay.
So part 2 comes out in November, and part 3 comes out, like, I think, like, February of 2025. And it's that thing of, like, okay, we have this massive hit on our hands. How do we treat it so that we can get the most out of it? Well, we're gonna break it up as much as we can.
Right.
And so that's smart on their part, and I don't blame them for it. And like the first 5 episodes lead you to a like what felt like a natural, like it, like you even went to, like, the writers and, like, okay, we need to break this up into 3 different parts.
Okay.
So when you get to episode 5, we need, like, a natural cliffhanger conclusion.
Right.
And they're like, okay, yeah, sure, we can do that. And that's how, like, you get to part 5, you're like, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah.
And it was very well done. I enjoyed it. It's one of those shows that once it's done, I'll be sad but glad at the same time.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, it's oddly that show of it's that you're like, well, okay, this show is essentially 2 middle-aged men having a massive argument that led to a karate gang war. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like what the fuck? And
Where kids are getting paralyzed.
Yeah. People were going to juvie. They get all sorts. Like, and it's all because these 2 middle-aged men just can't get along.
Over chicks.
Yeah. Over Elizabeth Shue 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So, but overall, I mean, so it's like that odd, like, like I hated shows like Beverly Hills 90210, and I hated, like, Riverdale, and I hated any of those, like, teen drama, like, Dawson's Creek and all that shit. Like, but, like, I'm sucked in on this only because it's Johnny Lawrence and
Right. That's why you're sucked in.
yeah, it's Johnny Lawrence and Russo. It's like, fuck, okay.
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
It is. It's weird, like, because, like, otherwise, if it was anything else, like, if it didn't have the Karate Kid stuff attached to it, I'd be like, what is this bullshit? Who's watching this?
Who's watching this?
Yeah. This is pathetic.
Who's watching this
Yeah.
garbage?
This is horrible. This would never happen.
Right.
But yeah, I'm like, Oh shit! Did you see that?
I as bad as it was shot, and it was shot pretty bad. The whole mall fight scene was pretty good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the mall fight scene. Did you? I mean, I did.
yeah. Like there's a lot of like you're right. Like a lot of like the action sequences are poorly shot. I think part of it is because it's like, well, William Zabka still wants to try to throw that kick.
Right.
Somebody's tell Will he's 55.
Right.
you know, um, Danny, the guy who plays Ralph Macchio, he still thinks he can throw a crane kick for some reason. So we got to shoot this from a really shitty angle because at some point we're gonna have to put in a stunt double.
Right.
I think it's shit like that, where you're just like,
'Cause he's old.
yeah,
He's not as young as people think he is.
no, like I think LaRusso's like 60.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they're not.
I mean, he looks good for his age. I'm not taking
Sure.
anything away from him. I'm just saying that he's an old dude.
Yeah,
Like he's not like he's older than I think he's older than
yeah, he's older than the guy who played Mr. Miyagi,
no, but he's older than what's his name?
Zapka.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, let me look it up here real quick. Um, Cobra Kai. So Ralph Macchio, he was born November 4th, 1961. So he is 63, 64 at this point. No, 63. And William Zabka, Billy Zabka, he was born October 20th, 1965.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean they're both in there. Like Zabka's like 68 right now, or 58 right now, and Ralph Macchio's 63.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy, and it's like it's just that funny thing, and like and I was even looking up because I'll admit the girl Peyton List who plays like Tori on the show, the blonde haired one.
Okay. Yeah.
I think she's very attractive.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, I can't like this. I'm creepy. Like I'm creepy for even. And then I looked it up, and she's like 26.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's still creepy.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying like it's that thing of like. I'm not saying like the things I do to her.
Yeah,
like I'm not. Wow, she's a really attractive woman. I'm like, fuck. She's like what? Is she like 19? And I'm like, oh no, she's 26. So I don't feel as bad.
Oh no. I don't know if you get a free pass on that one or not.
I'm giving myself the free pass.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not like I'm Jimmy Page out there. Jimmy Page is 80. He's dating a 34-year-old woman. His daughter's 50. Like
his daughter's 50.
People were posting that like Facebook, and I'm just like, man, I love Led Zeppelin. I love Jimmy Page. He's my favorite guitarist. First concert I ever saw. Come on, man.
Right. You freak.
Yeah.
That's fine. Jimmy Page.
We're fucking.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I just saw a picture of him. It's like, here's Jimmy Page, age 80, with his girlfriend, age 34. And I'm like, well, at least she's in her 30s. I'm trying to like, come on,
she's 30 something.
Yeah, it's not like fucking what's his name, DiCaprio. Like once they turn 25, he fires them.
Yeah.
His latest girlfriend's 19.
That's sick.
It is.
Money and power.
Yeah. Sure. All right, so have you been watching anything?
I watched the Jim Henson thing.
Did you?
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
It's good. Real
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Kind of an in-depth.
It was. It was very in-depth.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
And there were a
I
couple
mean,
of
I could
things
see where you didn't like parts of it. You know what I mean?
like there were things that got skipped over.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Like like Emmett Otter.
Yeah.
Like that production was big because that was how Jim proved you could do the Muppet movie.
Right.
And the relationship with Paul Williams kind of got skimmed over because he wrote a lot, all the music for
Yeah.
Emmett Otter and for the Muppet movie,
Right.
you know. And so like those were two things I was kind of bummed out that kind of got skimmed over, but it's tough to complain.
Frank Oz stuff was hard to watch.
Yeah,
Man, he loved them,
yeah,
and you could tell.
yeah.
And I now I understand Oz's point of view. Like once Jim died, it was kind of like I think it took the sales out of him.
As far as Muppeting,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean he's a phenomenal director. But yeah, like I do like, I mean you could see like, and I love Frank Oz.
Yeah.
Like I've seen stuff with Frank Oz, and he doesn't talk about Jim a ton
Yeah.
or the Muppets a ton. And I'm sure he gets inundated with questions
Yeah.
all the time, and he kind of skims over them. But like for that piece, like you're right, like you could tell it was very emotional for him to kind of like,
Open up a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah. So that was kind of hard to watch.
yeah,
I sallied up. Yes, I did.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it was brutal.
yeah. Like at the end, like Big Bird singing,
Yeah.
"It's not easy being green." I was like, I'm done.
I
I'm done. And I've watched that before. I've
Yeah.
watched it. I've watched that entire funeral.
Yeah.
But like just for some reason, like that moment, I was just like, I'm fucking done.
Right. Right.
This is the spot. This is where I'm just getting crushed.
Right. So yeah, it was tough.
Yeah.
But otherwise, what else? Started watching The Bear.
Yeah.
That's good. Um, I enjoy it. Acting's really good in that show.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's real good. It just
Oh,
seems real to me.
it's like I haven't watched it, but everything that everybody's told me is it's an extraordinarily well done show.
Yeah.
Like top notch acting, like the writing is very good. Like, everything about that show, like, and it's up for awards. It's always up for awards.
Yeah.
So
It's just a well done show.
yeah,
Yeah, it's good. So yeah, I'm kind of into that now. That's really about it.
yeah.
I want to watch the next 48 hours, or sorry, Beverly Hills Cop.
I would recommend it.
Is it good,
It's
or is it more nostalgic?
a little bit of nostalgic, but I enjoyed it. Like I watched it.
Who directed it?
That I don't know.
Okay,
I know it was produced by Buckheimer,
okay,
but I don't think he directed it. There's not enough explosions for him to direct it.
all right.
Um, but like I thought it was much better than Beverly Hills Cop 3,
Okay,
but not as good as Beverly Hills Cop 2 or 1.
okay,
But I enjoyed it. Like it felt more like,
Axel.
yeah,
Yeah,
like it did it
is
like
he
it.
funny?
There is some funny shit in there.
Does
Yeah,
he look old?
he does look old.
Yeah,
Like it's starting to show a little bit,
yeah.
But at the same time, and like it's
What did he dress like?
like I mean, he's wearing like the Lions jacket a couple of times. He's
Yeah.
wearing a hoodie a couple of times. Like yeah,
Yeah,
like,
that's cool.
it's the same act. I mean, the beginning of the movie, he's driving around in a 74 not Pinta, 74 Nova.
What is he?
Yeah, like the same blue with the white top.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it is shit. Like I mean, it hit all the right notes it had to hit
Yeah.
as far as like this is what a Beverly Hills Cop movie should be.
Uh-huh.
And I enjoyed it. I thought it was well enough done that it was a fitting tribute to what the first two movies were.
Okay.
You know.
That's good.
Yeah.
Other than that, I started watching Sweet Tooth, but I never got back to it.
Yeah,
Uh, That's really about it.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Never really
There's a
watched.
bunch of shit coming up on Netflix. Like, I know on Monday, Ghostbusters, the new one is going to be on Netflix,
Uh,
and like the new season of The Dragon Prince is coming out in a couple of weeks, and there's a few other things that's like I'm seeing like, oh wow, Netflix is like kicking into gear again for me.
yeah,
'Cause, like Netflix goes like I go through that lull of like, well, I haven't watched anything on Netflix. Why am I paying for it? And then all of a sudden like shit starts coming up. You're like, oh shit, okay, I wanted to see that. And oh, I'm waiting for this. And you're like, oh okay, this is why I'm still paying for Netflix.
right,
And the same thing with like some of the others. Like it's like, well, why am I paying for this? I haven't watched this in forever. And then like something comes up, you're like, oh, that's why I'm paying for this. That's right.
right,
you know.
yeah,
So it is stuff like that. But there does seem to be like there's a wave of stuff coming on Netflix in the next few months that I'm just like, oh yeah, that's right. I wanted to watch that, or I've been waiting for that, or
yeah,
it's time for this new season to come up. Great, I can't wait. Stuff like that. So um, that has me excited.
yeah, yeah. I don't know of anything else. I don't know of anything else I want to see right now. I have so many shows in queue.
Yeah,
I haven't been really paying attention. I've been just trying to watch those shows.
yeah, and also I mean you're busier.
Huh?
You're busier, so you're not
Right.
you know coming home and watching TV.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
um, like I saw like even like in the movie theaters, like Deadpool and Wolverines. I think next week.
Is that next week?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think it's next week. Yeah, and that's I like to see that in the theater, but I'm probably gonna wait a couple of weeks and go see it like after like the initial like wave of like the first 2 weeks of like it's where it's just madness trying to get a seat.
Right.
Then I'll like catch like a morning showing and get up early and go like 10 o'clock in the morning. Have
Right. Right.
popcorn for breakfast.
Right.
Um, that's coming up. Uh, they released a new trailer for Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. It looked kind of interesting.
Really?
Yeah, like I'm looking forward to that. No, it's. But then again, I mean, it's got what's her name in it? She's my childhood crush. Winona Ryder.
Ah.
I fell in love with her when the first Beetlejuice movie came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like her. I like her a lot.
Yeah.
You know. But that wasn't creepy because we were the same age back then. you know.
You were.
Yeah.
She looked good in Stranger Things.
Yo, yeah. Well, even in the first trailer, like she's got that like gothic dress on and everything. I'm like, oh yeah, gothic Winona Ryder. That's what I like.
How I've missed thee.
How I've missed thee. Yeah. You haven't done anything like this since whatchamacallit.
Headless Horseman.
No,
Sleepy Hollow. Maybe?
the one with Christian Slater.
Heather's.
Heather's, yeah.
Hmm.
I would say in my head it was Jennifer, and I'm like, I know that's wrong. I know that's wrong.
Yeah.
Heather's, yeah.
Yeah, I think she's aged gracefully.
I think so too.
Yeah, she still looks good.
Yeah.
I think Ali Sheedy aged gracefully.
She did, yeah. Yeah, like I mean, I was watching like she was in
More
that
so,
Bratz.
more so than Ringgold. I'm just kidding.
My crush on Molly Ringwald stands as well.
Okay.
You know, there were a number of them back then, including Elizabeth Shue.
Elizabeth Shue.
Elizabeth Shue in Adventures in Babysitting.
Yeah.
Like that was like,
Elizabeth Shue and the boys.
well, yeah, yeah. But I mean, like,
Holy shock to the system.
yeah,
I'm like, no, get the fuck out of here. Then they killed her off.
yeah.
I'm like, fuck.
Fuck. But yeah, like I
Who's
mean,
next in line to nurse?
yeah,
See this shadow hand come on the screen.
yeah.
I'm next.
I got a meme. I saw a meme, and it's this woman, and she's breastfeeding, and this guy walks up and goes, "You're not gonna believe this, but your baby invited me over for dinner."
Nice.
You know. And there goes half our audience, like, "Hey, you pigs."
Yeah. Man, was she hot.
Oh yeah,
Elizabeth Shue's still hot.
yeah. And she's been in a ton of shit. She's a very good actress.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like 1980s Elizabeth Shue in Adventures in Babysitting was like,
She's 60 years old, dude.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like I said, I think my voice broke the first time I watched Adventures in Babysitting.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, oh, I think she's really hot. That was like, puberty just punched me in the gut.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, she's cute. Anyway.
Anyway, yeah. So a little bit of exciting nerd news I saw this week. Um, what is it? Here it is. The Hollywood Reporter is reporting it. The Russo brothers are apparently in early talks to direct Avengers 5 and 6.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like it's almost like Marvel's kind of saying, okay, we've got a little bit of a rut going, and how do we fix it?
Right.
And let's go back and give the Russo brothers a Brinks truck worth of money.
Yeah, I think they're in trouble too. I think they're in trouble because they killed Captain Iron Man off. I mean, yeah, Captain Iron Man off. I truly believe that. I don't think they have a replacement for that.
I think what's going to be very interesting to see is first off, how good Captain America, the New World Order does
Yeah.
with Falcon in that suit.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like it's become that thing of like for the longest time they had no problem like scooping an obscure character out of nowhere and making them work.
Sure.
Guardians of the Galaxy is the biggest example of that.
Yeah.
But when they went back to that well of let's grab the obscure character, like with Shang-Chi
Yeah.
and with the Eternals, and even the Marvels. Like you had Captain Marvel, and Captain Marvel did well, but Miss Marvel and um, Rambo, like they're just kind of like, like they're you're digging deep,
Yeah.
and I feel like the average fan,
It kind of got lost in itself.
yeah, in a lot of ways,
Right. If they would have just, and even Loki was kind of, even though it was good,
right?
I'm just saying that to the normal fan,
Yeah, it's
that's
batshit
fucked up
crazy.
shit that's going
Yeah,
on. Right. And it's almost too deep.
right,
Right. But then you come out with something like Hawkeye.
right.
Everybody loved that.
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, they liked that too
Yeah,
because it was a storyline they could follow. They got into the characters, right? Um, yeah, I don't know. There's just, I mean, Don't get me wrong, Strange is a great character,
Right.
but he's not strong enough to lead a group like that.
No.
He's good on the side. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Hulk's a side character. um, they fucked up Thor. So, but Thor can't lead.
Right.
They've already written him in that way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Thor can lead his own movie,
Right.
but he can't lead a team.
Right.
You know. So it's almost like they went into this well and like there's some characters in this well that are really good though, like Daredevil.
Right.
They're getting the X-Men back.
Right.
You're gonna have Spider-Man in some form.
Right.
You know,
The
you're
four.
you're gonna have Ant-Man and Wasp in there as well,
Right.
and you're gonna have the four,
Right.
which is good. But like X-Men aren't Avengers.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? And
Like X-Men have their own problems.
I know that like through this new universe, they're like, yeah, you know, Avengers, but you're not going to see Wolverine in an Avengers movie. You
Right.
shouldn't,
Right.
unless it's a complete team up.
Right.
And then you got team up between four. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
it doesn't make sense. The only team up that's ever going to happen is in Secret Wars.
Right.
If you want to team up like that,
Right.
it's going to come in Secret Wars. It's not going to come in the form of, you know, like, and you're right. The Avengers are its own team. The Four is its own team, and the X-Men are its own team.
Right.
And then you have the side guys: Hulk, Spidey, Daredevil, Iron Fist. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like all these guys. I'm
Right.
just out of the block here.
Right.
So, I mean, that's going to come in a Secret Wars movie. Like I said, it's not going to come in. I mean, you can do an Ultimate team up or something like that, but an Avengers movie, it's probably not going to have all those characters. So I don't want people to think, well, I don't know, but I mean, I don't want people to think they're going to throw in an Avengers movie and all of a sudden you're going to see Professor X and Wolvie and Gambit and you're going to
Right.
see all these characters that you know, they're not going to be in there because it's just not an Avengers movie.
Right. I mean, and I think like that's the big problem is like you had such a buildup over 20 movies to get to that Avengers Assemble moment in Endgame.
Correct.
You know, and it was such a long, but the entire time you knew what the end game was.
Right.
Like you knew at some point Thanos is the ultimate threat.
Right.
Like you spent 10 years, 20 movies getting to that point.
Correct.
You know, and at this point I don't know what that point is in this new generation.
Correct. Is it going to be bigger than big? Are you telling me that? I mean, looking back on it, you know, looking back was like, oh, who's the next villain?
Right.
Right. And everybody was thinking maybe Mephisto, and you know,
Right.
Mephisto, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mephisto.
Yeah, Mephisto is the one that everybody's always like, that's Mephisto.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone was kind of looking direction, and they were like, well, you know, it's got to be Galactus. And I mean, it could be Galactus, but that's not. I don't know if the Avengers are. That's a four villain.
Yeah.
And then well, there's another side character, Surfer. Are you gonna bring Surfer into the fold?
Right.
I mean, with Galactus comes Surfer.
Right.
Unless they change the storyline, but I don't know who that next baddie is. I mean, it would have been Kang the Conqueror, and that would have been pretty cool from an Avenger standpoint.
Right, and they kind of like have gone off of that.
Yeah.
Because
of all the stuff.
Yeah, Jonathan Major's issues.
Right. He was a great Kang.
Right.
So now I don't know who they're gonna bring into it. Doom. Now, if you bring Doom in as the ultimate,
right,
with some baddies on his side, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like team up like that.
Yeah.
He's powerful enough to bring in other heroes to fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But who leads them? Stretch?
Right, exactly.
I mean,
That becomes the issue is like when you get to that Avengers movie, who are the Avengers?
right. Yeah. I mean, Stretch isn't going to lead him
No.
because he's not an Avenger. He's in the Fantastic Four. That's what I mean. Like,
Like it should be Falcon.
I don't think he's strong enough character to lead him. He's not believable to me.
Right.
I mean, Falcon, for some reason, I'm having problems with him not being Falcon. I'm having him problems being
Having the shield.
having the shield
Right.
and becoming that character. Not because I'm jonesing for Rogers.
Right.
I'm just saying I look at I know his past or anything like that, but I look to more Bucky than I do
Right.
Falcon.
Now both of them have had the shield. Both of them have carried the mantle of
Oh, I
Captain
know.
America.
I know.
Yeah. But like I'm with you. Like I was surprised they went that route. I thought it was going to go to Bucky, but I also understand like in Steve's mind, like I can't give it to Bucky. He's too fucked up in the head still.
Yeah, but
In the books, yeah, I understand that. Like I'm right there with you. Like I really thought the next guy would be Bucky, but I understand why.
badass if he just threw it at him and he caught it with that fucking fist.
Yeah. Yeah. But at the same time, like, I get why
Instead
he's
of a
not.
Sally up moment on the bench.
Yeah.
It fits you, Sam. Whatever. Says this fucking mechanical glove up your ass. Mechanical hand. I just think I think, and necessarily doesn't have to be Bucky. All I'm saying is it's I just don't see the leader.
But who are the Avengers as well?
Yeah, I think is it gonna be a rebuilt team?
Like
Like Wanda's out.
Yeah, Wanda's out. Like, are you replacing Hawkeye with
Yeah, what's her name?
Haley Stattenfield's character from Hawkeye?
Yeah.
Which I have no problem with.
No, me neither.
I think that would be pretty good. Because I liked her a lot. I know they're doing a Thunderbolts movie, which Sebastian Stan has talked about, and it was like him, and it was Black Widow's sister, and
Gotcha.
yeah, and um, David Harbour's character from Black Widow.
Mm-hmm.
They I think they were using U.S. Agent from the Captain America or Falcon Winter Soldier. That guy was coming back as in the Thunderbolts. So I know they did, like, they filmed that.
Yeah.
Um,
They just seem to go off the path, and I'm not sure how you can correct it. They put out some movies like The Eternals.
yeah,
Great concept and ideas.
right.
How do you incorporate the internals? You don't.
No,
Can't.
right.
They won't. They're not supposed to. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
But at the same time, then they hinted at the Black Knight
and Blade.
and Blade. Yeah. So I mean, like there's like
Yeah, why are you hinting? Why are you even going there? And it piqued. Did it pique my interest? Yeah.
yeah.
But then I was like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a
And then Sony came out with, not just Venom, but
well, yeah, their stuff, their universe stuff has nothing to do with any of this.
I know, but it was interesting that they came out with it.
Yeah.
What's his name? The vampire.
Oh, Morbius.
Morbius,
Yeah.
which is an interesting character to me. But I like horror too, so when you introduce Morbius into a comic book, it interests me. You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
in
but
that realm.
Morbius is an interesting character, but he's not a franchise.
No. Agreed. I'm just saying that
Right.
there's all these characters being introduced. She-Hulk was introduced.
Right, and like I'll go against what I thought the show for the most part was kind of interesting. I just thought they fumbled. I understand what they tried to do with that season finale, but they fumbled it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like it just I was like, Really, this is where we're going?
Mm.
Okay. Like, like, nah, this doesn't work for me.
And you kind of knew it was sort of like a bad series because you had to have Hulk as support.
But
It's almost like you had the Hulk to carry it.
but he wasn't in it that much.
He was in it enough.
Like the first two
I
episodes.
know, but he was in it enough.
Right. But you needed him. Like it makes sense. Like if you watch the show,
Not that I mind Hulk.
right.
I'm just saying that.
But if you watch the show, it made sense from the standpoint of, okay, you've been infected with what I have to a lesser degree, but you still have it. This is what you need to learn how to do. This is
Mm.
how you learn control. Like those are the things that, like that aspect of it, I was fine with. And even like when she done with that and she goes back, to her job, like everything else that like surrounded that show, I was fine with. The finale, where they went completely off the rails and broke the fourth wall,
Yeah.
which she had been doing, which I'm fine with, but like to the point that she's breaking out of the Disney Plus app. She's going to find Kevin Feige, and it turns out he is a robot that controls the MCU. Like it was like I was like, come on, like
Crazy.
yeah, like this you've gone off the rails. Like you didn't, there could have been a better way to handle this,
Yeah.
you know. And then like the other thing I liked, and they fumbled it a bit, was like Hulk gets called away. It was just one of the reasons why like she's like I have to go. Well, it turns out back on War World, he had a son, just like he does in the comic books, and he brings his kid back.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, and I was like, oh, okay, but then he looked awful. Like, like, holy shit, spend some money on that special effect.
Right.
Like, so there was a lot of shit that like that show wasn't as bad as people say, but when you get to that final episode, it goes so far off the fucking rails, you're just like, well, how did they agree to this?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No, I get you.
And like I didn't even mind the episode where Daredevil was like, doing the walk of shame. Like it made complete sense to me. Like, I'm like, yeah, I could see that. They hooked up. He's only wearing his outfit, so he's got to walk home, walk of shame, 6 in the morning.
Right.
No problem with it. But so like, I feel like you're right. Like Kevin Feige had such a definitive vision for the Infinity Saga, as we'll call it.
Mm.
For 20 movies, they all, without even trying in some cases, fit together like a glove.
Right. No,
Like,
they did.
yeah, like, I mean, it is phenomenally well done how all of those movies work together.
Yeah, it was just genius.
It was. And I feel like what they're doing now, some of it not their fault, is not fitting together the way that they thought it would.
Right.
And I don't know how you fix that. Like, would I love to see Steve Rogers and Tony Stark return? 100%.
Yeah.
But I feel like there should also be a point that you don't need them either.
Right.
But you're just not doing a good enough job of replacing them.
Yeah.
And I don't know who replaces them. Who is the leader of the Avengers?
Right. But the thing is, like, you had two of them.
Yeah.
Right. And the whole magical thing about it was when they incorporated storylines and stuff like that, they brought in Civil War and they brought in, do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they blended it pretty well where you understood what was going on.
Right.
Like they just kept placing puzzle pieces and it worked
Right.
for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then there was that always the thing that kept it going too was that relationship between Stark and Rogers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like it
Right.
was always a love-hate relationship,
Right.
and that kept it fresh. There were
Yeah.
so many parts in those films when he finally gives him the shield back.
Right.
When Stark learns that Bucky was the one that killed his mother and
Right.
father.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like when
He's my friend.
when Stark
I
came,
was your friend too.
correct.
Yeah.
When Stark came off the airplane,
Yeah.
the spaceship,
Yeah.
right? And he gets in, he rips his shit off, and he's
Yeah.
like, "You said," you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that whole speech he gave to Steve, and
Yeah.
it's like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
That's that acting that was really good.
Yeah.
Like between the two of them.
Yeah.
I mean, there was good acting in the Avengers, but nothing matched the
No.
acting that was going on between the two of them.
Right.
The phone call from Steve to Tony,
Right.
the pen moment
Yeah.
to sign the books, the Accords,
Yeah.
all that shit. That was like supreme acting.
Right.
There wasn't any other better acting than the two of them.
No.
I mean,
No,
they carried those films almost
Right.
when they were together,
Right.
you know? So, and I have to say, probably, Robert Downey Jr. carried the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
if you think
he
about
was the glue, clearly.
for all of it,
Right.
you know what I mean? Introduction of Scarlet Witch. I mean, Black Widow,
Black Widow. Yeah.
like all that shit. But Tony had all of that. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. was, I'd have to say, more so the main player than
Yeah.
what's his name that played Steve Rogers.
Right. But I mean, like, it started with him. Like, that was the first MCU movie.
Yeah,
You know, it's the end of that movie where you see.
and just crunching it with AC/DC.
Yeah, but it's the end of that
Unbelievable.
movie where you hear those magic words. I want to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know, like there was a Tony Stark's character was a glue that held it all together.
and even when everything was lost, they went back to Tony
Yeah,
for him to figure it out. That's what
like
I mean.
Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah,
You know, like that was. Well, what's the glue that's going to hold this guy? Well, it's going to be Tony.
yeah,
You know, and he was only in it for 10 fucking minutes, but it was an amazing 10 minutes.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so yeah, like yeah, I mean it and that's what they're missing. They're missing that glue piece.
Yeah, and it's just not there.
No.
And anything they've done, there's nothing bringing me back. I'm watching,
Right.
but there's nothing bringing me back of interest. The only person that would bring me back of interest at this point of the game is, and this is going to sound horrible, and he's not even a major character, it's probably Daredevil.
Yeah.
Because I find the character so interesting.
Right. Like I'm looking forward to that
Right.
series.
But I find the character so interesting.
Right.
Nobody else really interested me because I know most of their backstories already. I know not Witch, whatever, whoever you want to bring into the
Right.
fold. We know them.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm just not quite sure. And we know Strange. We know what he's been through.
Yeah.
We know Loki. It's just there's nobody really here that says the only man. It's not even part of the Avengers. The only person you can bust out is Reeves, and like he's part of the four.
Right.
Reed Richards. I mean, Stretch. I mean, interesting character.
Right.
And although it's like that kind of corny comic, doesn't have to be
Right.
if you do it right.
Right.
You know. So I don't know. But he's not part of the Avengers.
Like, okay, here's the weird question. Would you put Janet Van Dyne in charge of the Avengers?
Quite possibly. She already let him.
Right. Like in the comic book, she's led them.
Mhm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like the question we're asking is like, who could lead the Avengers?
I mean, she could.
Yeah. But would it be Michelle Pfeiffer?
No. No, it'd have to be what's her name?
Yeah,
I mean, it wouldn't be Michelle Pfeiffer.
yeah,
Mental capacity isn't there. Not from her age. I'm just
yeah.
saying that look where she was.
Right.
She doesn't have mentally. She just not there.
Yeah, like I mean, it's like but it is that so like, but I don't think like the her character like Michelle Pfeiffer. I'm with you, but I also don't think the woman who's playing Wasp now, like that Wasp character is not the leader of the Avengers.
No, I don't know. They're gonna put Falcon in charge, and I just
Right.
don't think that. Maybe it's his acting. I don't know the answer to
I
that.
am not a fan of Anthony Mackie.
Right.
Like I'm not. Like I've never seen anything where I really liked him in.
Yeah.
And I hate saying that, but
I think I think it's quite possibly his acting.
yeah,
Because as you remember, I liked Winter Soldier and Falcon and Winter Soldier.
yeah,
It was okay to me. Had some good points,
right,
but I thought the acting suffered. Not on Bucky's end,
right,
on Anthony Mackie's end. It's almost he has some funny lines and he does well at certain parts.
right.
You know.
He's not an actor I get excited about when I see he's in something.
No, and even from an Avenger standpoint, he always came across as almost like I get it, cocky. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? But when Tony blew him out of the water,
yeah,
when after War Machine went down, I
yeah,
was like, thank God.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, did he kill him? You know what I mean? Such a badass moment.
Yeah,
The whole screenshot of that was incredible.
yeah,
That faraway screenshot.
yeah,
Oof.
yeah,
Like, hell yeah, Tony.
yeah.
Tell him what's up.
So like, yeah, but I mean, so it is that odd thing of like, so not only he's
And
like,
actually, I thought, before I go any further, as far as bad acting throughout the show, like, and really good acting,
yeah,
I, I know I'm going to get backlash for this, but Scarlet Witch got on my nerves after a while
yeah,
with the accent. Just drove me insane sometimes. Not to the point of Rogue, the X-Men cartoon, insane,
right.
but it kind of drove me a little insane after a while. It did. I don't know. It just
But she dropped that very quickly.
eventually
Yeah.
she did. But you turn it around and look at Paul Bettany's acting.
Well, I mean,
Oh, come on.
Paul
I
Bettany.
know, but still, his vision, as a person that's going to come across his vision, like this is Vision.
Yeah.
That's what I imagine Vision would be.
No, exactly. I'm right there with you. Like, I mean, he played Vision the way I imagined Vision would be. Like,
A lot of them did.
yeah. No, I agree with you. But like,
Spider did.
yeah.
Um,
But like to compare anybody to Paul Bettany's, I mean, Paul Bettany is
I know
he's on another level.
he is on another level.
He's just on like the fact that they got Paul Bettany in these movies is always surprising to me.
Yeah,
Like
he was perfect as Vision.
like first off, he was perfect as Jarvis.
Yeah,
Like oh, he was perfect as Jarvis. The voice of Jarvis was amazing, and then to like put him in the Vision and have him as Vision, I was just like, oh, that's so fucking good. And then he was like so fucking good, and you know
the series with
you
him.
know Wanda and the Vision show, like yeah, like I mean, but like Paul Bettany is just like he's like I can't believe he made comic book movies. Like, he's too good of an actor to be in these.
Yeah,
You know.
it showed as him as Vision.
Yeah.
'Cause I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah. So
Oh yeah,
but like the
when Cap shows up with the beard boy,
oh
it was
yeah.
badass.
Yeah.
It's like who's that? There, boy. And he shaves his shit off.
Yeah. But
This was his grunge days.
yeah.
And there's so many highlights in that series, but I mean, and I know I keep saying it, I just want to see it so bad, but when the Ronin shows up,
Oh yeah.
man, they could have done a whole movie just on the Ronin.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like
A whole movie. They
yeah.
could have dedicated a whole movie to Hawkeye on the Ronin.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wholeheartedly agree with you, but like the other question you have to ask is,
costume was good too. Good.
huh?
The costume was amazing.
Yeah, they did an amazing job with that.
Hmm.
But like the other question I have to ask is, like we're not only asking who leads the Avengers, but who are the Avengers?
Yeah, I know.
Like I mean, it is that odd question.
I mean, do you go back to square one where fucking uh, Samuel Jackson?
Nick Fury.
Yeah, you go back to that where Nick Fury assembles again. Do you start there,
Right, and who are
bringing
you?
some old, bringing some new?
Right, and but
But at
like
some point, I mean, there's storylines where Fury turns bad.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, was that was that with Doom? Nah, I don't remember. But anyway, there's storylines where Nick Fury is actually bad.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Like
I
it,
don't know.
there's just a lot like I can appreciate that the like Kevin Feige's like okay we need to shake this shit up a bit, and I think first off like Deadpool and Wolverine like I'm interested to see like what are the results of Deadpool and Wolverine, like how does that.
God, I'm praying that it's good.
I think it will be. Like I really do. I think it will be. Like
'Cause to
everything.
me, the second one was so good.
Yeah.
The second Deadpool was really good. I enjoyed the second one
Like
a lot.
I have high hopes for this, and it does look fantastic. And but like I'm interested to see like okay, what kind of a band-aid is this put on things?
Right.
Like how does this start to fix things? Because you have this, and you have the Cap movie, and I mean I don't know if you saw the trailer for that or not.
Not the Cap movie, no.
Well,
I haven't even seen a Deadpool trailer.
okay. Well, at the end of the Captain America trailer,
Uh-huh.
Red Hulk.
Oh, Red Hulk is coming?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
yeah. So you've got that aspect of
That's
it.
good.
Yeah. Um, you've got, like you said, the Thunderbolts movie coming soon. So like it's like, okay, can we start building towards something? Does it start with Deadpool and Wolverine? Go through Captain America, go to the Thunderbolts. Like, can we start building something?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And start taking off from there.
Yeah, I know. I mean, do we want Deadpool in an Avengers movie? Was
I have
Deadpool ever an Avenger?
no, I don't think so. But at the same time, like I've always said, I think it would be hysterical to have him in there and you don't change him. But every time he swears, you bleep it.
Yeah.
And you make him aware that he's being bleeped.
I think it'd be funny just to see him and his just head pops out.
Yeah.
And then creeps back in into the shadows.
Like you almost make Deadpool like in movies he's not involved in, but his head just got like you make it like the Stan Lee.
Where's Waldo?
Yeah, like you make it like the Stan Lee of like Marvel movies going forward, where like you just like, why did I just see Deadpool? You know,
Right.
that would be hysterical. But like I said, like you put him in an Avengers movie, or
But also too, like also too, is Deadpool fits into that. Uh, I mean, you could put him in anything, but he really fits into that military or grunge level fighting like Daredevil, Spider-Man, Hell's Kitchen.
yeah,
He fits in that. He fits in that type of scenario.
but he also can go bigger.
We can. I'm not saying
Yeah,
we can't, but
I mean,
I like him grow.
well, at one point he was going to marry Death.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so like I mean, like there's a lot of different things you can do with Deadpool, and I think like this movie's going to show it because it's like it's dealing with the different timelines and the TVA and all that wackadoo shit.
Yeah.
You know, the Wolverine from the timeline he pulls him from is not a very good Wolverine, but you know, Like so, it's like there's like a lot of interesting things that are taking place here.
It's art, right?
Yeah,
I could just see him looking at that outfit and going, "What the
yeah,
fuck?" Wolvie's outfit, because he's in the blue and yellow. So,
yeah. I love in one moment like they're at a diner and they're eating. Wolverine's like, "Can you put the hood back on?" And he's like, "It makes it really difficult to eat with the hood on." He's like, "Yeah, well, it makes it really difficult to eat with it off." You know, like, oh shit.
Did Ryan write it? Reynolds write it?
I think he was involved in the writing. Yeah.
Yeah, he has to be, because he's the one that delivers those one-liners. I think a lot of those liners are taken from the comics, but I think a lot of that's Ryan Reynolds being the jackass that he is,
Yeah.
because that's who he is.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a great deal of improv too.
No, I'm sure.
You know.
Yeah. I hope they had fun making it.
I hope so too.
Yeah. I wonder if Hugh Jackman's going to return as the Wolverine.
I don't think so. Like, I mean, he wanted to be done after Logan.
I know, but he was excited to do this movie.
I think he's excited to do this movie because it's with Ryan Reynolds.
Nice.
Like, I don't like if they had just come to him and said like, "We need you to come back as Wolverine." I think they'd be like, "No, I'm not doing it."
Yeah.
I think it was the prospect of doing a Deadpool Wolverine movie that excited him.
Okay.
Like, I think over 2 movies, Deadpool referencing Wolverine and Hugh Jackman. You know,
And the pictures.
yeah. Like everything about it was like, you know, I get it. I could see where you would say if you're Hugh Jackman, like, all right, I'll come back for this one more time,
Right.
you know, because it's worth it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I guess where I'm at, like with Marvel, like I want to see what they can piece together at this point. Like how can we kind of rescue what's going on?
Right.
And there are other things that have like you go all the way back to Shang-Chi, you know, the Ten Rings are reaching out to something in space. What are they reaching out to? Like there are so many mysteries, like, and nobody's still acknowledged the the godlike being rising up out of the ocean that's been calcified from the Eternals.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I like Shang-Chi's character.
so did I.
I think that's a really good character to have in the fold.
I thought that was a very good movie, but I don't know if going forward he's a guy you can that character can be a second movie.
No, but I think he can definitely be in the Avengers.
Right, I agree.
Like he's a good person to have in the Avengers.
Right, he's a good character to have been introduced.
Right, and he's also versatile on his acting. Like,
Yeah.
he can be comedic, he can be serious,
Right,
and that's kind of what you need in that Avengers movie.
right,
You don't need a class clown because that's going to be Deadpool if they introduce him into the Avengers, but
right.
you need that offbeat character. Ant-Man was an offbeat character,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like it's very interesting of like the hole they've kind of dug themselves into, and can they work their way out of it?
Yeah, I thought he was brilliant too. What's
Yeah.
his name? Ant-Man.
Paul Rudd.
Yeah, amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
Innocent.
right. In a way,
Well, innocent compared to what he was being thrown into.
right.
That was the magic behind all of that.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. Like, I mean, the character. I mean, he does it very well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, when he's
Nice to meet you, Captain America.
yeah, right. That's America's ass.
That's right.
You know.
He's an idiot.
Yeah.
But like those movies were really good on the aspect of his kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like building the whole thing in his house and you know that
Right.
whole thing. Like,
And I even thought,
I thought they wasted Yellow Jacket, but
yeah, but like at the same time, like I really liked Quadramania.
okay.
Like, I didn't think it was that bad of a movie.
I didn't think it was that bad.
No.
I thought it was actually really good.
There are a lot of people who shit on that movie.
Well, the only thing I was disappointed in, is what's his name wasn't there, his friend. It's the only
Yeah.
thing I was disappointed.
Yeah. Like the guys with the security company. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that guy's amazing.
He is.
But like that bothered me that he wasn't in it because he provided that comedic relief.
Right.
I did not like the fact that it was Bill Murray. I did not.
Yeah.
I could not appreciate it. I cannot see even Bill Murray as an older man because I knew him as a young man being who he was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it just didn't come across as believable. And I love Bill Murray.
Right.
I do.
Right.
It just didn't fit. It just didn't fit for me.
Right. It felt shoehorned.
It did.
Like, well, who can we get to do? Well, let's get Bill Murray.
Right.
Who's going to believe Bill Murray's in one of these movies?
But I tell you what, like out of all the movies too, like I hated Thanos. Hated him. I'm not sorry. I loved Thanos. There were parts I loved and parts I hated. But that dude in Guardians 3, I just wanted to absolutely. I wanted him quartered.
Oh yeah.
By horses.
Yeah.
Like I have never felt that much hate for a villain in a movie. I don't think ever.
No.
Ever.
I agree with you 100%.
What they did with that villain was, and finally James Gunn gave us a villain to hate.
Yeah.
I mean, like truly hate.
Yeah.
Because I'll never be able to hate Doom completely.
Well, I mean, also like,
love Doom.
if you also like, I mean, when in the first movie, he gives us I can't think of the actor's name at the moment, but that like the villain in the first movie, you were like, I need to see more of this guy.
Oh, in Guardians?
Yeah.
Oh, what's his name? Yeah. Played by what's his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Great villain.
Like, but you wanted to see more of him. You were bummed out that he was, you know, like seeing him in Captain Marvel was like, that's my guy.
Yeah. Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And you can't hate.
There's something to conquer.
I can't remember. Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But then
Lee Pace played him.
Yeah. Yeah. Lee Pace. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the second movie, like you can't hate Kurt Russell. It's impossible.
No, I know.
Like he's playing the villain, he's playing ego. I get it, but at the same time, it's Kurt Russell.
Oh, when he turned into Pac-Man.
Yeah. That was hysterical.
Yeah, but that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't hate Kurt Russell.
Yeah, it's impossible to hate.
But I hated this motherfucker.
Oh yeah, this guy.
Especially when he's screaming at Rocket like that.
Yeah.
And started crying. Like.
Yeah.
I was like.
Yeah. Oh,
I can't. He killed all of his friends.
Yeah, you've got to die.
Yeah.
I hope it is a heinous death.
Oh, I hated him.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never hated a character more than that.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy had to go. I don't want you to come back.
Yeah, I didn't even like Warlock or his mom, but he killed his mom off.
Yeah.
Like he was batting 1,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, batting 1,000.
Yeah.
I was so ready for him to be done. Had a little Avengers thing at the end there where they teamed up on his ass.
Oh, yeah. I was just like, yeah, you have to die, and I hope it is a Braveheart like death where you were just drawn and quartered.
And then he blows up an entire planet and kills all those things.
Yeah.
All those people.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have James Gunn. You have created the ultimate villain.
Yeah.
And like, not only did you hit the heartstrings on just killing innocents, but you killed like animals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You tortured animals, son.
Yeah.
And then you screamed in their face.
Yeah.
As you did it.
What a scumbag.
I know. He did real well with that villain.
He did, yeah.
I mean, I have never hated a villain so much in my entire life.
No.
Like, I was sad to see Thanos go. That was a sad moment.
Because like
sitting on the bench, she goes, yeah, well.
But also, like you looked at Thanos, and you're like, he might have a point. I don't agree with his tactics.
Well, yeah, I know. I mean, like he had his
like Michael B. Jordan in the first in than Black Panther.
Yeah.
Like you're like, he's made some valid points here. I don't agree with your tactics, but
They
maybe you
should
need to
have let
listen to
that.
the man.
They should have let that die. I don't
Oh,
think they should have made the Black Panther movie.
I liked the second Black Panther though. Like I liked Wakanda Forever.
Did you?
I did. I thought, but like I agree with you. Like it's tough and it's tough, but because it's tough to replace that actor. Like you know what I mean? Like and you can't. Like you couldn't have recast that. You could have, but like it would have been like you know. But like I liked this Wakanda Forever because one, it paid tribute to him in a beautiful way.
Yeah, I guess you're right there.
But also it gave us Namor. I liked the way they introduced Namor. I liked the backstory of
Forgot
Namor.
about another character that's been introduced.
Yeah, he's a villain though, which Namor was in many, many, many books for
Yeah.
many, many, many years.
Right.
But like I liked how that was all done. Like I thought it told a pretty good story.
Yeah.
Like, was it as good as the first Black Panther movie? Good God, no. But it gave me a lot to enjoy.
Yeah.
It might have been a bit long.
Yeah.
Like that may have been my only complaint is, man, that was a girthy movie.
Right. Yeah.
But overall, I thought it told a good story. It gives me Namor, somebody we've been kind of clamoring for.
Yeah.
At least you and I have.
Yeah.
I don't know how many average comic book fans were clamoring for Namor, but like on this podcast, we were like, when are we getting Namor?
Yeah.
And how are we doing Namor? Are we doing, Speedos? Like,
Yeah.
I thought they did a good job with Namor. I liked it a lot. I liked how they created the backstory for Namor. I just thought it was very, very well done. But it is tough because you want that guy to be Black Panther.
You did.
You know.
I mean, he was just such a loss
Yeah.
to the acting community alone, but
Right, but also the us as
like he
comic book
was
fans.
Black Panther.
Yeah.
Like I
And
can't imagine anybody else ever being Black Panther
no.
after seeing him in the books. I mean, in the movies.
Right.
His movements, everything about him he did was Black Panther.
Yeah. And again, something that kind of probably derails the story they wanted to tell.
Yeah.
Not their fault though.
Right. Yeah.
Like the loss of that actor, and then Jonathan Majors and his legal problems are two things that derail the story you're trying to tell, but it's not your fault.
No, I know. But he was good as.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of questions when I heard it was Kang. Because I know Kang, I get it.
And that's tough to do.
But they pulled Kang off pretty well.
Yeah.
Especially when all the Kangs were together. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Like when that scene at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quadromania.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh shit, it's on.
Yeah.
And then they kind of, based upon everything, they kind of take a left-hand turn with
when you saw
the second season of Loki
screaming. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It reminded me of it's a terrible movie, but Green Lantern, when all the lanterns were up, and
Yeah.
I thought that part was cool.
Yeah.
It was like probably the only cool part about that movie for me. There wasn't very many cool parts, but I loved seeing the lanterns.
Yeah. I mean, for me too, because I was naming them. I'm like, oh, there's Buzz, and there's this guy, and there's that. I was like, I was geeking out as a Green Lantern fan. But then there's also like the after credit scene where Sinestro puts on the yellow ring.
Yeah.
And that's when I was just like, oh, fuck yes. Because one of the highlights was Mark Strong playing Sinestro.
Yeah.
And knowing what Sinestro becomes, through the yellow ring, through, everything that takes place after. Like, I was just like, oh, I'm so ready for bad guy Sinestro,
Yeah.
And hopefully someday I get that.
I mean,
It probably won't be Mark Strong, but
I hear
Yeah, like that's something that like
you.
Sinestro was the greatest of the Green Lanterns until he fell.
Right.
And then it was Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
But when he fell, he fell, and like at the time it was called the Warrior Ring, and yellow was the only thing that could affect a Green Lantern.
Right.
So his ring had to be yellow to be like to have an effect on it. And then he forms the Sinestro Corps, and then that gives us all the other corps. And there's some badass like the Red Lanterns are. Whew. All right. Well, I think we've yammered enough.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything I can add to the proceedings there, sir?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, remember there are a number of different ways you can reach out and touch us. You can send us an email. That email address is pittsburghnerd@yahoo.com. You can also find us on Facebook or Twitter. Just search Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. We're very, very easy to find. And we are also on a number of podcasting networks. You can find us on the Tangent Bound Network, the Weeby Geeks Network, and the Pod Breed Network. Just give them a Google search and you can find all the other great podcasts they have to offer. And lastly, as always, I want to thank you, dear listener, for taking the time to check us out each and every week. We can't thank you enough for your support.
Yeah, we do.
And on that note, the dreamer has awakened.
Peace.